Sat Nam, beautiful friends, and welcome once again. I hope you are all having an amazing day so far. So, what the heck is going on with our moon right now? Have you stepped outside and looked at the moon lately? Have you noticed anything different about the moon? It's very odd, and something very odd is occurring, and I'm kind of shocked that nobody else is talking about it. On January 1st, in my New Year's Day predictions, Spirit showed us and told us that the Borealis northern lights would be seen in the most unlikely places. And that's exactly what just occurred right here in Arizona and many other unlikely places. What is this all about and why exactly is this happening? You know, some folks in Arizona, or not in Arizona, but some folks believe that this occurring and showing up in Arizona is a sure sign that we are about to go to war, United States. Is there any truth to this, or is it just a conspiracy theory? We have again witnessed more train derailments, oil spills, chemical spills, and so much more already, and just more over the past week. Is this some type of domestic terrorism? What is it exactly? Why is it happening? Spirit warned us of coming water wars on a much smaller scale. These water wars kind of began right there in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, where people were fighting over water at local Walmart stores. Is this just a small sign of what's ahead when it comes to water and the water wars that Spirit warned us about several years ago? A significant earthquake hit the people of Pakistan yesterday, a 4.0 in Oregon, and a 3.7 in San Francisco, California this morning. A huge uptick in seismic activity is coming, according to my spirit guides and the divine spirit. Who could be the next vulnerable people being hit by massive earthquakes? Spirit warned of massive tornadoes, if you recall, that would soon hit the Midwest in, again, unlikely places. And sadly, that's what happened in Rolling Fork, Mississippi, who was nailed by an EM4 tornado. So prayers go out to all those folks affected by that tornado. And Spirit warns of tornadoes in strange places. And we've seen that. So what more is to come with that? Is there more to come with that? It is not just the climate of our Mother Earth that is changing. Proof once again arises showing that it is actually changing throughout our solar system, and it's not just Mother Earth, it's the entire solar system. Why is that? Why are they not telling us this, or nobody's taking notice to this, or at least they're not telling us they're taking notice to it? Actually, why again is this happening? Does it align with the Hopi prophecies of the blue Kachina and the red Kachina? Is a UFO invasion upon us for real, or a flag flying falsely? One thing is for sure, my dear friends, the birth of a new world is upon us. And this includes the shifting of Mother Earth herself. I welcome you to my channel. I welcome you back to my channel. My name is Joseph Tittel, aka Spiritman JT. It is Tuesday here in Arizona. This is my tea time, Tittel's Tea Time Predictions Update, episode number 59. Yes. If you want accurate predictions, prophecy, and truth, and cool stuff, then you found your channel. You found your tribe. Make sure you smash that subscribe. I want to take a moment just to thank all of my supporters who make this possible and allow me to be able to work on this show all day and upload it and get it all out to you. I am so grateful for the chat cash, the PayPal, the love, the support, the members of my Awaken Your Spirit community on Subscribestar, my biggest supporters. I thank you all, and again, couldn't do this without you. Down below, you'll see a link to the newsletter. Make sure you click on that and open that baby up and subscribe to that newsletter so you know what's going on in the future. Not just with predictions, but with me. Upcoming classes, courses, special discounts we put out for private sessions and so forth. So check that out down below. Also, one last thing is don't forget to click that like button because I love you. I deserve a little like. Please, I ask you, please click that like button. It takes 1 second to do so. It helps me at the channel, helps us at the channel, helps this tribe to grow bigger and larger. So moving right along, today is March 28th, 2023. The month of March is quickly coming to a close, and a powerful month we can all agree it has been. So many intense energies and solar storms that have shifted our consciousness, while leaving many of us feeling really tired some days and feelings as if we're a bit jet lagged. Have you noticed that past couple weekends, this past weekend as well? Some of us have even experienced a feeling of being dizzy and a bit off. I was feeling dizzy. It was really strange to me, but I knew it was the energy and I knew what it was coming from. Otherwise, I could go into paranoia that there's something wrong with me. Oh my God. But I knew it was the energy and the shifting of the energy over the past weekend. Thankfully, this brought with it the beginning stages of another amazing awakening of our bodies, our minds, and our spirits. It's quite exciting. A wonderful rebirth stage has begun, my friends, and I hope you all personally take the best advantage of this awesome opportunity that is upon us now. For the first time since 2008, we have the dwarf planet Pluto moving out of Capricorn and into Pluto after 20 years of being there. And it moved into the sign of Aquarius on March 23rd, where it's going to remain for the next 2 decades, 20 years. Although Pluto will make a brief return to Capricorn twice during retrogrades, one during the solstice coming up on summer solstice, brief return to Capricorn, before remaining back in Aquarius permanently from November 19th, 2024 until the early 2040s to 2044 to be exact. It's a long time. That's a big gap of period of time. Within a 4-day period, my friends, we have experienced the equinox symbolizing rebirth, followed by the new moon, symbolic of renewal and beginnings, topped off with Pluto entering Aquarius, the sign of death, rebirth, and change. This was all accompanied by a quite severe level 4 magnetic storm, which has the northern lights showing up in very odd places like here in Arizona. I'm going to close this door so the dog don't keep walking through. So we had, so a level 4 magnetic storm. Apparently that's huge, my friends. It's huge. And we have not only just seen Pluto move into Aquarius, but we also have so many other movements in the planets that just occurred over this past week, including the sun that has moved into Aries, Saturn moved into Pisces, and Mars moved into Cancer. That's a lot of movement, my friends, a lot of movement. And with the whole Aquarius thing, Aquarius is all about pouring out the dark negative energies, the masculine dark negative energies. If you look at the symbol of Aquarius and the tarot card that represents that, I believe, I just drew a blank, Temperance, I believe it is, holds the container up, slowly pours down the dark negative masculine energy down into the feminine light energy. And that's what we've been seeing happening, friends. We've been seeing that happening since 2012, when the Mayans or the Aztecs actually warned us that a new world was coming. Not the end of the world, but a new world. See, they just wanted you to think it was the end of the world, but it was not. So moving right along, again, we have all these planets moving. Everything has changed in just over the past week, including people. Have you noticed that? People have also shifted into new energy. Perhaps maybe we even shifted into a new dimension, as many believe. Even Dolores Cannon talks about that. Earth moving into a new dimension. Speaking of which, there's a lot of details on that in a video I posted that many of you missed it, called Millionaire Bunkers, New Earth Maps, or one of those, something like that. I just put it out there last week. So check out that video. It's a good one. It took me 2 weeks to produce that video. So what is our divine creator trying to tell us? Or perhaps trying to warn us of with all these alignments and all these things that are occurring? Is the return of Jesus Christ just around the corner, as many believe? Well, I certainly feel that there is actually so much more that would have to occur first before the return of Jesus in prophecies and beliefs, including, of course, the rise of the Antichrist, which some now believe the Antichrist has risen as soon as Queen Elizabeth died. King Charles taking her place, fitting the role perfectly. Personally, I believe it is very, very possible, and only time, of course, is going to tell. but he definitely has more power than anybody. You know, people think it's Trump. We're going to talk about that a little bit too, and the weird, odd, not so coincidental things that align with Trump that are really weird. Wait until you hear these. But more than anything, my friends, we can all certainly agree that we are in some strange and wild times, both on personal levels and on a universal level on our planet. People are definitely awakening more and more, and they have just over the past month, which is really exciting. But it's still not enough to stop these evil, the elite's evil agenda and their evil plans. So therefore, I remind you all that we are in charge of our future, as our thoughts and words are literally the blueprints to our future. One of my favorite quotes. I've come up with many of them over the decades. It's one of my favorites. That our thoughts and words are the blueprints of the future, just like we become those and the energy of those we surround ourselves with. If you're around miserable people all the time, you're going to be miserable. It's going to be hard to shift out of that. So surround yourself with people that lift you up to joy and happiness, or become very acquainted with yourself and being in your own space by yourself. That's a good thing too. So I remind you that, again, we can change our future together, especially the power of prayer. By coming together, it can allow us to push out the darkness into the light. And Spirit tells us today, and told me today, to remember that we are in a time right now. This is the time when that which is done in the darkness will soon be revealed in the light. That's what Spirit told me. Actually, it wasn't today. I think yesterday. I put it in my notes, and Spirit said, yes, this is the time. And we've said something along those lines in past shows and lives and so forth, but Spirit reminded that today, that again, this is the time that which is done in the darkness will soon be revealed in the light. So therefore, amazing times that we are in, for sure. Indeed, we are in amazing times. And again, if you're new and just got here, I welcome you to my channel, back to my channel. And don't forget to hit that like button. And if you want accurate prophecies, predictions, and truth and good stuff, then hit that subscribe button as well. And I thank you all again for any chat, cash, PayPal, and all that you do to make this possible. I love you for that, and for all other reasons as well. So again, I remember to check out my newsletter below. I'm putting out a brand new newsletter with upcoming classes and special discounts. So you're going to want to check that out. And also, we're coming to the end of the month, my friends, of course. And we have the what do you call it? April 1st, the beginning of a new month coming on Saturday. You know what that means. I've got to put out my April predictions. So I'll be working on that this week. I will upload my April predictions. So make sure, again, you hit subscribe, the bell, and all, so that you hopefully get notifications. Click the like. That also helps. And keep an eye out for my April predictions. I will upload that before the weekend, and it'll probably be premiered here on Friday on the 1st. I mean, Saturday the 1st. Keep an eye out for that. Good stuff, friends. Good stuff. So, friends, let me get some tea first. See, I knew you were going to keep walking through here and walking through here. She just keeps walking through here. Like she's the queen of the household. Actually, she is the queen of the household. So, friends, the dark evil elite already have a plan in which they begin to initiate. They're going to begin to initiate in Oxford, Wales, and several Australian cities. This plan is to keep us locked up into your zone. They're going to make zones. And this is what they call for the future the 15-minute cities. And they are making this happen. They're starting. This agenda absolutely must be stopped. We must together stop this agenda from happening. We must, if it's not our city and it's the one next to us, we need to help go over there and defend our neighbors. We must come together to stop this, or soon we're all going to become prisoners of not only our own home, but just within a 15-minute walk from your home. And that's as far as you're going to be able to go. So your neighborhood within 15 minutes is going to be your prison courtyard. You're not allowed outside of that courtyard. And, certain times of night and certain times of day, you're not allowed out of your house at all. And how are they going to know? How are they going to track this? I'm sure this leads all into the mark of the beast eventually, friends. That's another video. If you missed it, make sure you watch my video I did last year called Mark of the Beast. It's a good one. If you missed it, you got to see that one. Got to see that one. So these 15-minute cities and becoming prisoners in our own yards and in our own neighborhood, just within a 15-minute walk. And again, only together can we and will we stop this sick agenda that's already being planned to launch in January of 2024. So I encourage you all to do your own little research on this. It's a fact. It's not conspiracy. And of course, protest peacefully when this comes about, while resisting at the same time their desires to fully enslave humanity, because that's what they're doing, my friends. This is 100%. Again, this is not a conspiracy theory. This is a conspiracy realist telling you this is a fact. They're already launching this in different places. According to a comment from Anne here, and thank you for your comments down below as well. I do read them. They have to be approved to show up, so so that's why I read them all, because I also like to hear your feedback, and I check out all the links that you put in. If you do put a link in your comment, please put a title as to what that link is for. Putting a link, just a link on there, I won't click on it, and I won't approve it to be for other people, because therefore we don't know what it could be. So just label it, and I thank you for your comments in the chats. I love reading people's chats and interaction with each other down there in the chat room. So according to Anne in the comments, she says where she's from in Newcastle, Australia, Mike, is forging ahead with the 15-minute cities. Again, Anne in the comments from Newcastle, Australia. I don't know if she's from Newcastle, Australia, but she's definitely Australia. I'm guessing that she's Newcastle, but she says they're forging ahead with the 15-minute cities. Not good, friends. Not good. You got to fight this, my friends in Australia. You got to fight it with every ounce of energy you got. Stock up on food. Make sure you have everything that you need. There is definitely a new world upon us, friends. There's definitely a new world upon us. We must ensure that it is a positive world for our future and our children's future, and not that of the New World Order in which the global elite are working very, very hard to initiate. And it's up to us to make sure that doesn't happen. On a positive note, we need to remember, as more and more people awaken, the more we have to assist us in the resistance against the global elite. Remember, too, that your children and your grandchildren are 100% depending on you, even those that are not born yet, that are coming into this world. They are depending on you to free them fully from the restraints that are already holding them back and tied upon them. We don't need any more restraints to go on top of those restraints. So remember the prophecies, though. That's another thing to point out. To remember the prophecies and predictions here that all equally discuss the same outcome, and that outcome is many of them call the Golden Age. That Golden Age is when all of humanity is forced, and Spirit told me this over 10 years ago, humanity will be forced to come together as one. We saw that here in America during 9/11. People actually were pulled together and came together. America was great right after that happened. Great place to be, very patriotic, and then it just, died out after a while, which is sad. So, what could it possibly be? And again, your comments are important. What could it possibly be that could occur that drives us together as one? It's got to be a catastrophic event of some sort, something like that, right? It could be many things. I mean, the list is endless. Could be famine, could be disease, it could be so many things. I believe what it's going to be, because the prophecies talk about rebuilding the new earth in the year 2032. I said that again over 10 years ago, and when I started doing predictions, that Spirit told me all along that 2032 we usher in and rebuild the earth. So what's going to occur to cause the earth to be rebuilt? Many believe it's World War III. Maybe that's part of it. I believe without a doubt it's aligned with all the prophecies, and it's going to be Mother Earth's doing, not humanity's doing. Mother Earth will make the decisions, and I'll talk about more of that in a little bit. But some folks right now, this is kind of funny, are putting out that there is a rapture coming in April. The rapture's coming. How many times has the rapture supposed to have been coming by now? And I beg to differ, because that's not going to happen. And remember what the Hopi natives say that relates to the Christians' belief of a rapture. The Hopi natives tell you, going back over 10,000 years ago, that they are the first people of the earth, meaning they're the only original people of the earth. All the rest of us have been seeded here by different alien beings, space people. But the Hopi believe, and it's written in their ancient manuscripts, on the stone hieroglyphics or whatever you call them, written that the star people came down in their flaming chariots and took the Hopi people off the earth when the great flood came. When the waters receded, the space people, brothers and sisters, brought the Hopi back to the earth, and they spread out into the four corners to rebuild and bring their spirituality to the planet. And the four corners is here, between Arizona, Utah, Colorado, and what's the other one? I forget the other one. I just drew a blank, but you get the point. That's the Hopi's belief. So is that the same thing as a rapture? Because, if you look at certain UFO, stories and abduction stories, they talk about the light coming down and literally picking the people up and taking them. Would that be the same thing you see in movies with the rapture? A light comes down and takes them? Well, how do we know that's not the space brothers and sisters? The Hopi would be the ones that would know more than anybody because they are the first people of the planet. Their ancient history goes back tens of thousands of years. So, and I don't believe, just to answer the question, is a rapture coming? No, I don't believe that's coming anytime soon. And I remind you, it's written in so much. Even, I talked about this before, but even the song by Neil Young after the gold rush. I dreamed I saw a silver spaceship flying in the yellow haze of the sun. There were children crying, but colors flying all around the chosen ones. All in a dream, the loading has begun, loading the UFOs, to take us to our new home in the sun. And Neil Young claims that he wrote that song based on a movie that never came into fruition, but a little strange that it aligns with sort of the rapture, because, the rapture doesn't go into detail. It just says certain people that are going to be taken because they gave their soul to Jesus. I don't believe that's exactly the case, quite honestly. Actually, I know that's not going to be the case. People aren't just going to suddenly disappear like that. And I believe that the people are going to come together that are aligned energetically and by our vibrations, which is happening now already. It's kind of our ancient tribes gathering together again. And that would be where the Hopi couldn't go. And how long that would take them to pick certain people on the planet? No, they would find the tribes that gather together that are in tune, if that were to be the case, and that was going to happen. But again, some folks believe that. From Virginia to Arizona and even in the northern New York areas, you could see northern lights, the BOREALIS. And Spirit told us that this was going to occur. If you remember back, I'm pretty sure it was January 1st, New Year's Day predictions. So go back and check them out if you haven't. I got to go back and listen again too and look at my notes. It was actually a cause of a severe level 4 geomagnetic storm that brought about this event, claims, meteorologists and scientists, which I'm sure is the case. But it had a lot to do with all those energies I talked about when we started coming in on the planet. The equinox, the new moon, and everything else with the moon. And I'll talk about the moon in a minute again. But experts say also that the sun goes through these cycles that they call the solar maximum and these solar magnetic cycles every 11 years. And they say that the solar maximum is going to occur next year in 2024, which I believe that would make sense, especially towards the end of 2024, because I told you, look out for 2025. Eventually, sometime this year, I will put out a 2025 prediction video. But that's not at the top of my list right now, but keep an eye out for that. Again, all the more reason to hit that subscribe button, friends. So yeah, it was every 11 years. So over the next 2 to 4 years, we are very likely going to see these northern lights again appearing in places that they never appeared before, which I didn't know that, but Spirit told us. So, you got to rely on the divine spirit. The divine spirit's always right. So at the same time, we also have to look at this and the rare moon event, and all of this occurred right after the equinox rung in, along with right after the new moon. And what's happening with the moon that I noticed at first that really freaked me and my friend Jeff and his wife out was we noticed, I don't know if you noticed, but we're in a waxing moon, which is, the light, it goes from dark moon and slowly we get the crescent moon and it grows to the full moon. And it grows from the left from the right to the left for the waxing, and then the waning is left to right. The moon is waxing right now from the bottom of the moon working up, more like diagonal, a little bit more diagonal, but not from right to left or left to right like it's supposed to. So at first, our first thought was, oh my Lord, the earth must have wobbled, or the earth must have moved. But actually, after doing research and finding out that this goes back to ancient times, and they called it the wet moon, because they believed that that held in the waters of the rains and the snows for the springtime. So it is an ancient thing. We go, wow, look at that moon, because it's very rare. They say it happens twice a year, but I can't believe this is the first time in my life I ever noticed it. And actually, they noticed it and told me, and then, yeah, I can't take credit. I only give Jeff and Aaron the credit here. So that's what's happening. So one thing I can assure you all, my friends, is that a revolution is coming, and the fight against the current and the planned economic system and currency. I channeled this through a week ago, and I don't think I mentioned it last week. I found it in my notes, but again, we can be assured that a revolution is coming, and that revolution is going to be a fight against the current and the planned economic systems and currencies. A fight against the centralized banks, and a fight to decentralize the banking system. That's something to look forward to. My allergies today, my nose is so itchy. Decentralize the banking system. That's exactly what we need to do. And that's coming. You know, we have these planetary events that are occurring that occurred when Occupy Wall Street happened back in the day. That same alignment is happening, which means there's going to be another sort of group that gathers like Occupy Wall Street, but it's going to be more against the centralized and decentralizing of the banks when they try to put in their digital currencies. It'll be interesting to witness what country actually does the fighting here and stands up first. But again, these energies that we're going through are all changing our vibration, awakening people, and making things different, which is pretty amazing, actually. And that's the one thing the elite cabal cannot control. They ain't got no control over that. Mother Earth and our solar system and the divine creator, Lord, has everything to do with it, not them. And that's the cool thing. That's what makes us win this war against the darkness in the long run. Speaking of wars, what about water wars? Remember 2 years ago, Spirit warned us that we would see massive water wars, and we're at that 2-year point when I said that. And as you know, some of my predictions take up to 2 years before they come into fruition. Why are there so many derailments happening? You know, again, we looked this up, and what is it, like 1,600 derailments happen a year, but not the way we're seeing derailments with spills of toxic waste, chemicals, and gas, and so forth. Why is that happening? Well, you know, many believe, conspiracy theorists believe, and I might be more of a conspiracy realist, actually, in this case, saying that they are sabotaging these things on purpose. Remember the movie White Noise on Netflix that portrayed exactly what happened in East Palestine, Ohio, which was also filmed partly in East Palestine, Ohio. You think there's coincidences here, friends? There are no coincidences, especially when they throw things right in front of our face and then they do it, and nobody does anything about it. Talk about it on the internet. That's about it. So it's crazy. So a train just derailed, last week, dumping 5,000 gallons of diesel fuel on native land in Washington. Native land. So that takes me back to my video, my most popular video. It's got like 500,000 views. The Black Snake Prophecy video that I did when they were invading the Standing Rock Reservation natives to put their oil pipeline underneath their rivers, which is in the prophecy of the Hopi, the Black Snake Prophecy, to be specific. You know, and I had people say to me, oh, well, that's not it. The Black Snake's this or that. The natives say it. The natives are the ones that had signs that said Black Snake Prophecy. So we can't argue with them. It's their prophecy, not ours. And they say the Black Snake is the pipelines, which makes so much sense. And then it says that the black snake comes and will attempt to cross the river. If the black snake succeeds in crossing the river, soon after the waters will start to become poisoned, and it'll mark off the great shaking or something like that on the earth, which is in the Hopi prophecies as well. And that happened. And they lost the fight, and that pipeline did go in. And now, if we look back, that was quite some time ago, what, 6 years ago at least? But we say it, the water is becoming poisoning, which takes me to our friends in Philadelphia. And actually, right out next door to my hometown, Levittown, Pennsylvania, is Bristol, Pennsylvania, which I used to go down and meditate at Bristol and do all kinds of stuff down at that Bristol Wharf. And there was a huge chemical spill in Bristol, Pennsylvania that spilled into the once upon a time beautiful Delaware River. I don't know how beautiful it is now. And this has people in Philadelphia fighting over water at local Walmarts, like fistfights over water. If you would have listened to me 2 years ago, you would make sure you have water stocked up, or a filter that is adequate, like reverse osmosis, or a Berkeley filter with the additional fluoride filter as well. This should be a wake-up call. Again, we've had enough of them over the past 2 years, that this should be just one wake-up call after another, that we should be preparing, having things that we need: batteries, flashlights, food, water, because you just don't know, especially with the earth right now. We see tornadoes in places we've never seen tornadoes before. We're going to be seeing storms coming up this year that we've never witnessed before, that are coming. Again, all the more reason to follow my predictions and be here every Tuesday, because I am here every Tuesday. So yeah, Philadelphia, poor folks in Philadelphia. This takes me to the weather, actually. And again, after that level 4 geomagnetic storm that hit, I would tell you now that you should not only expect there to be more geomagnetic storms in the future and even the near future, but also a sign coming. This is also a sign that a huge uptick in seismic activity is going to occur. Remember, Spirit told us there was going to be a large sun flare followed by a massive earthquake, and that's exactly what happened with Turkey. Not even like minutes after that massive, it was actually minutes after the full moon. But it wasn't long after that sun flare. Big one. I forget what size it was, but it wasn't pointing towards the earth, but pointing enough that brought upon that event. We have to watch sun flares. I had someone like in the comments make fun of it. I can't believe you talk about that. That's so stupid. No, then that's the word stupid's bad, first of all. It's less than smart, and that would be putting a comment like that would be less than smart. Because if you know anything that has everything to do with our planet, the sun flares and the activity and the magnetic activity of our planet, everything to do with earthquakes and so forth. So I would also tell you upticks in seismic activity because of the quake that we had in Turkey, that they had in Turkey. Spirit says is just a small fraction of the quakes that we will see in the future. A small fraction. April is going to be an extremely active month with both seismic activity and weather in general. Spirit says that we are going to witness a true change in not just our climate, but in the earth itself. Now, again, we can come up with many speculations here, but if Spirit says that we can expect to soon witness this, the change on the earth would be literally, again, a piece of land going into the water, or land rising up out of the water, and so forth. So, in Spirit says we're soon going to witness that. So we got to keep our eye on the earth and what's coming up. That's all Spirit told me. I didn't get any more details. But remember, Divine Spirit also told us months ago to pay very close attention to the moon. Who knew? I didn't know about the water moon. Never heard of such a thing, which shocked me that I didn't know about that. But we got to keep an eye on the moon. Remember, Spirit said that. And so keep your eye on the sky is actually another thing that Spirit told us back in January. Keep your eyes to the skies and away from your phone is actually exactly what Spirit said. But pay attention to the moon. This message from the Divine Spirit was accompanied by a warning that we would soon witness another large solar flare event, followed by another large quake. This, again, is the exact scenario that played out for Turkey. Spirit says it's coming again. And we will likely not have to wait till the month of April to witness such an event or witness such an uptick in seismic activity or in weather events as well. We experienced that level 4 magnetic storm, which was followed by the tornado that killed at least 25 people in Mississippi. Prayers back out to the folks in Mississippi again. And we certainly seen an uptick in seismic activity already. And I have this strong feeling that overwhelms me that a huge Earth event disaster of some type of scenario will soon play out on our planet. I remember also, Spirit just reminded me now of their proposed climate lockdowns. Remember, Spirit said that there would be a global event that they would use as a way of trying to lock people down. And they do everything in a small test zone first before they go into a large test zone. Kind of like 2020 bug. That was their small test. Imagine what their large one would be. Same with everything. It's pretty crazy. This brings to mind also my past predictions, such as a massive volcanic eruption that would cause disruption. Remember that, and several other predictions, which, as you know, a reminder of past prediction from Spirit is a sign. When Spirit reminds us of past predictions, as Spirit reminded me of this volcanic eruption again today that I've been talking about for a while now. Spirit reminds me, when I'm reminded, it's usually because we are approaching a time where this would actually come into fruition, that these events are actually approaching us. Both Syria and Turkey's massive earthquake is something we do not see very often. We can agree on that, right? But at the same time, Spirit made me feel today that this will soon actually become a common occurrence, where we'll see many of these every year, especially as we move towards 2025. Earth activity around Alaska is currently flaring up, according to my visions today, along the top half of the Ring of Fire, the whole top half of the Ring of Fire. And somewhat significant quake in Alaska will be a forewarning, Spirit says, of something much larger striking soon after. Again, Spirit said, a large earthquake in Alaska would be a forewarning of something much larger striking soon after. I don't know what's striking. I'm not saying it's an earthquake. It could be the volcano eruption. I don't know. But I would say that it would have to be probably a 7.0 earthquake or above, around right above Anchorage, Alaska. And that would be followed by likely, again, a large quake, or a quake, again, as large as the one that hit Turkey. And I forget what that was. It was close to an 8.0. But Spirit says eventually an 8.4, that's big. An 8.4 will bring with it a larger warning to the people of Mother Earth. So, there could be an 8.4 somewhere and it doesn't have any effect on people or humanity. I mean, we know that, and let's hope that's the case. But the whole point is, Spirit says that 8.4 will be a larger warning to the people of Mother Earth. I'm not sure, but I'm not sure what that warning will be of. But I know that I'll get more information as we approach and come closer to this event occurring. That hopefully doesn't occur, hopefully. I also see activity rising in both Greenland and Iceland, following the Alaskan quake. So again, activity rising in Greenland and Iceland. This would be accompanied with a newly erupting volcano between both Iceland and Greenland. I feel activity is picking up in and around our friends in Japan, and especially in the Pacific Ocean. Eventually, a large movement of the plates beneath the Pacific Ocean, beneath the sea, will unleash not only a great shaking of the sea itself, but also, of course, if the sea is shaking, that's going to bring about a deadly wave. Sadly, I do feel that the time is approaching where we're going to see a massive tsunami. I feel like that's very closely approaching us. And maybe even during the next shift, which is coming in a month, energy shift. Los Angeles, California, and the entire state of California has been hit pretty hard this year with weather. If you didn't notice, Mother Earth has done a pounding, and so has Mother Nature. Spirit warns there again is much more to come for the whole West Coast. We have not yet seen the end of massive flooding events, bringing about mud and rock slides like we just experienced here in the Sedona Canyon with road closures for days, both directions. Big one too. Big one up towards Flagstaff. I mean, it had to be huge. I haven't driven up there to look yet because the road was closed. But our road was closed for 3, 4 days. The whole road was closed. I mean, again, I could get into Sedona town, but the one day I couldn't because there were rock slides. You know, a lesson for all: never drive in a canyon when it's pouring rain. Bad idea, friends. Bad idea. I learned that when I first moved here. When a tire rolled out in front of a rock rolled out in front of my tire and blew out my tire. Not fun. I had to change that flat in pouring rain. It was awful. I was so not happy with that moment in time. But anyway, like we experienced here in Sedona, we're going to see a lot more of these to come. I had a vision today of a road, a highway that runs right along the coast. I saw the ocean and then the side of a mountain. It looked like it was like riding kind of on the side of a mountain. And I saw the entire road being wiped out completely and taking with it at least one vehicle in the process. So I want to once again also warn our friends in Japan. So I think that might be California, the vision I had, but I don't know. It kind of reminds me of the California coast, but all I saw was like the side of the mountain, the roads right there along the coast. It's kind of high up, so you were high up on the mountain a bit. I'd say at least a third of the way up the mountain, this road, going along with the coast. If I was driving north, the coast would be on my right, or south, actually. I'm guessing this would have to be California. But I saw the whole side of the mountain come out, taking at least one vehicle with it, because I saw the back of the vehicle sticking out. It looked like an SUV actually sticking out of the rubble. There might be more, but I saw one. I don't know if anybody was in it. Hopefully not. But if I didn't see any houses nearby, it looked just like a highway to me. So chances are there was somebody in it. I saw the whole road wiped out. And again, our friends in Japan, I want to warn of incoming activity both on land in Japan and beneath the nearby waters. So the oceans and the waters that surround Japan. Also, India and Mount Fiji as well came to mind today. Spirit also warns that Indonesia will flare up again as well. So be sure again that you check in with my April predictions that I do for the weekend for more details on weather and more specific predictions. So I held back on a good bit to save just because I had a lot of stuff today anyway. But I held back on some things for April predictions. I want to warn many areas of a repeat of last year's cold temperatures. If you recall, we had a early spring, late freeze that happened here, where I got no apricots off my tree last year. I got my plums and apples and all did great. I got no, my neighbors too didn't get no peaches, no apricots. Didn't happen last year, because a cold came in and killed all the buds on the flowers. Well, Spirit showed me that this was going to occur again, hopefully not here, but somewhere. And I hope that it's not as severe as it was last spring and the late freeze we had last spring. But I do want to warn people in the northern parts that there's a sudden overnight freeze event that could occur. And if you could protect your stuff the best you can, that would be important. And this is probably not, probably in early April happening. But I wanted to get that warning out to you now. I mean, we're only days away from April anyway. So remember, not long ago, Spirit said that we would begin to see tornadoes in the most unlikely places, along with my visions of a massive tornado. Remember that vision? Well, not that you remember the vision, but remember me describing that vision of this path of just complete destruction. Well, sadly, a few days ago, first thing, I said rare tornadoes happening in the most unlikely places, and that's exactly what happened in Los Angeles, California, where a tornado injured one person, at least one person. And then while sadly, of course, in Mississippi, which actually is a very unlikely place from what I gather, for them to have a tornado in the first place. But at least 25 people have been killed in that tornado in Rolling Fork, Mississippi. Sad. Prayers to them. And it's interesting, JB, so-called president of the United States, sends aid to the folks in Mississippi, while the people in East Palestine, Ohio, those residents are still suffering and still no visit from Biden. Wonder what that's all about. Really weird, won't you say? And, before people would be like, oh, that's because it's, a Republican state, Ohio, or whatever people were saying. Well, guess what? Mississippi is a big, huge, gigantic Republican state. Maybe that's why he's running in there. Actually, that's probably why he is running in there, to make it look like a savior, to get their votes. Crazy, 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 crazy. Speaking of crazy, the Earth, Mother Earth. With all this activity, could this at all be aligned with the Hopi prophecy of the red Kachina and the blue Kachina, or the Lakotas, red star, blue star prophecy? Is that approaching us in the near future, the very near future? Many people believe that. Some believers think that it's happening next month with the rapture. They say, this is definitely conspiracy theorists here, that it's all happening next month. The rapture and the red and blue star, which is actually in the Bible too, is Planet X and Planet Wormwood. It's everywhere, really. I mean, it's in all of the ancient prophecies. They all talk about it. And nowadays, you'll hear it referred to as Nibiru. The blue star, of course, would actually be a comet, which I believe that comet is Apophis, which will arrive on Friday, April 13th, 2029. So we got some time for that. I believe that's more likely the time period. And again, that is a future video. I will do complete details on that Hopi prophecy and when I believe it's coming, if it comes at all. But it's not what's happening. There's no rapture coming. It's not time, folks. There's too much that has to happen in the prophecies before any of that happens. That's the thing. People jump way ahead. How, like the Antichrist, how many people have been accused of being the Antichrist over the past 20 years? Like almost every president in the United States has, along with other countries. They always jump ahead. You got to wait until other things happen in the prophecies before we can jump ahead to say who that's going to be, or who this is, or what that is, and so forth. The proof is in the pudding, friends. It's not going to be April, but the proof is in the pudding, friends. The shifting and changing of the climates is not just happening right here on Earth. Are you aware of that? This is where the proof is in the pudding, friends. They are actually occurring throughout our solar system, and they have been for quite some time. They just haven't told you. Look at Mars a few years ago, had the biggest ever sandstorms, and all these different things recorded on planets that never have been occurred before. So it's happening throughout our solar system. The most latest one, have you heard about the red spot on Jupiter? The red spot on Jupiter is suddenly beginning to grow smaller and smaller, while folks have noticed changes with the moon, changes with Mars, and changes with other planets in our solar system. This is actually occurring due to the reason that the elite have worked so hard to hide from the masses. The planet Nibiru, the red star, the blue star, red Kachina, the blue Kachina. That's what it's all about. Why would our cows farting and you driving in a gas automobile be affecting the planet Jupiter? It wouldn't. It's a lie. It's all a lie. Remember, it used to be called, what did they call it before? Before it became climate change, they called it global warming. They got rid of that one, right? Wonder why. But anyway, take notice to the whole solar system, friends. And again, I'm not going to go into it. I could do a whole hour video talking about Nibiru and such. But what I'm telling you overall is it's not happening next month. Either is the rapture, but it is in the prophecies, and it will happen eventually. All the more reason, again, to be a part of this tribe. Hit the subscribe, hit the like button so you don't miss when I do more information on these topics. Speaking of topics, I thought you'd find this one to be interesting. Trump. I meant to cover this last week, but I didn't get a chance to because there was a lot. Going back, is Donald Trump the Antichrist? What do you think? Don't leave a comment about that either, because he's not. And this is why. But, it could be King Charles. I don't believe that they really pushed him forward yet, the Antichrist. But if I were to pick anybody on the planet right now, I would say King Charles would fall into that category before Trump would. Mainly because Charles is the most powerful one of them all, preceding his mother, Queen Elizabeth. So, that would be the most likely. But I still think that hasn't quite arisen yet. But I want to bring some interesting Trump facts to you before mentioning before I mention the whole Trump arrest. The Trump arrest. I told you it was a diversion to throw our attention away from things. And nothing happened of that. But here's the thing. You got to remember my past visions that I had. Remember, we have seen nothing come of this as far as Trump arrest, but divine spirit tells me that the 2024 election show has just begun. That's what spirit said today. When I said, what's coming of this? Nothing's come of this. And spirit says, well, yeah, the 2024 election show has begun. It's part of the show. So I remind you again of my visions in the past where I saw Trump in visions in front of a courthouse. And I couldn't tell if he was cuffed or not, but I saw him in front of a courthouse with crowds of media all surrounding him. I also saw him testifying in a court setting or something, testifying somewhere. So I just got to remind you of those past predictions. And Spirit told me today that that vision that I saw of him still stands very strongly. So it's still going to come. Did you know that these are just weird facts that I found out that I thought were really creepy that I wanted to share with you? Because there are no coincidences. Starting with The Simpsons, the psychics, they should call it the Psychic Simpsons. The Simpsons predicted the coming of Trump 16 years prior to his presidency. I'm sure you know about that one by now. But the movie Devil's Advocate was widely filmed in Trump's home, in Trump Towers, of course. That's interesting, right? The Devil's Advocate. There's also 2 Illuminati cards. If you're not familiar with Illuminati cards, it's another video actually I want to do soon. I don't have all the cards, but I have one complete set. There's other ones I need. But the Illuminati cards show 2 cards that portray Trump. One of those cards is labeled the charismatic leader. I should have grabbed it to show you. I forgot all about it. The charismatic leader, while there's another Illuminati card, which matches the cover of, I'm pretty sure it was Time magazine, like exact with his face, like that. I forgot to grab. I don't have the Trump card anyway. I don't know if I have charismatic leader. I think I have that card. But yeah, 2 different cards in the Illuminati cards that showed him. Remember, these Illuminati cards were put out in 1993. How would they know that? How did they print that and know that that was going to happen? Like they know everything that's going to happen. Heavy Metal Magazine back in 1990 did a little comic series called The Wall. And in this comic series called The Wall, it is about Donald Trump building a wall around New York City. I don't know all the details. You have to go look for it, but look up Heavy Metal Magazine to The Wall from 1990. But here's my favorite one of all. It's really friggin' creepy. This is from a 1958 TV show episode from the television series, Western television series, Texas Rangers. And the episode was called Trackdown. And it features a man by the name of Trump who warns people that the world is about to come to an end at midnight. You know how they do that whole clock thing, the clock in the midnight. What are we, a minute before midnight now? So it was 2 minutes, but I think we're like a minute or 30 seconds before midnight. So again, this television series shows this man by the name of Trump warning that the world's going to be destroyed by midnight and only he can save them. Nobody else. Just this Trump dude. Which is really interesting. Go look it up online. Again, the episode is called Trackdown. And in the beginning, when they show him on his little thing doing his spiel, the actor that his name is Trump in the series, he has all these symbols on his white robe that are all very, very Illuminati symbols. There's the star, there's the moon, there's the Target symbol, which they use for Target. Check it out. But here's the really creepiest part of this whole series from 1958. Not only is this man by the name of Trump claim that he's going to save them from being destroyed at midnight, and only he can save them, and the way he's going to save them is building a wall around the town. Yes, I swear to you not, friends. I swear to you not. It is 100% truth. Eventually I'll do a video relating to the Antichrist and possibilities with that as well. But I believe it's not him. Although there's no coincidences. Look at the book, The Last President, written in 1903, and the book prior to that, Baron Trump's marvelous adventures to the center of the earth, or whatever it's called, written in the late 1800s. To talk about all these creepy things that already happened now in this timeline since 2017. Very strange. So I just wanted to bring those little creepy facts. If you have any creepy facts about this, please leave them below. Maybe I'll do a video on that. Speaking of creepy, war. War is creepy. It's raw, spelt backwards. Some folks claim that folks could see the northern lights in Arizona, that it ensures that the United States is soon going to go off to war. Folks claiming this also claim that the last time this event occurred, the northern lights in Arizona, is when the U.S. went to war with Iraq. Well, I did as much research as I could find, and the dates don't align. But let me just tell you, I'm not saying it's not true. I don't know. From my research, I couldn't find any validation in that because scientists say that this geomagnetic stuff occurs every 11 years. This would mean that it was 22 years ago, and the Iraq war started 20 years ago. That's how I calculated it and came up with it. I couldn't find anything with Northern Lights in the year 2003. I'm not saying there is or isn't. I'm just giving you the information, friends. I'm not at all saying that this could not at all be the case. But, war, unfortunately, is very likely just by looking at the history of the United States, for starters. Look at the history. Trump was the only president in how long that didn't start a war? Not to back up Trump or anybody, but just like they all start wars is the point. They all start wars. That's what they do. Here's the other thing. Every president that starts a war during his presidency is always reelected the second time for a second reelection. So, and it seems like crazy, like they're really trying to start war with Russia and everybody the heck else. Now the elite, they want to start war with the cartel in Mexico, which I agree. They should strike those people down. They could have done so a long time ago, but they don't because they're all part of it. They all cash in on it, and it's all part of their sick agendas. But anyway, yeah, every president that starts a war is always reelected. We also know that the elite profit greatly from war. It's like a money machine for them. And it feeds their agendas as well, like their depopulation agenda. So, it's inevitable. But again, remember, we can pray and hold in the light United States and the world so that it doesn't occur. And that we shift into that new earth dimension before it occurs. North Korea is the one to worry about, friends. Everybody says China, China, China. I'm going to say North Korea, North Korea, North Korea. North Korea is what Spirit told me today that we must keep our eyes on. I was surprised, actually, to hear this. Somewhat surprised, not completely. Because I believe that it's actually going to be North Korea that ignites the next level that could lead to a potential Great War or World War III. Spirit warned to watch them very, very closely. I also feel that someone helped them to acquire a nuke, a very small one, but I had a strong feeling today that someone helped North Korea acquire it felt very small, but doesn't matter, it's still one. And if they didn't acquire it, they're in the process of acquiring it right now and will succeed. But of all the places, Spirit says Pakistan. So a combination of North Korea, Pakistan, and Iran will become the real problem for the world and the biggest problem for the world. So, something to keep our eyes on, friends. Maybe I'll get more information on that for my April predictions. Although Israel's leader also has been pushing and threatening to attack Iran, if you haven't heard. And I have no doubt that they will, sometime between now and 2025, do exactly that. Israel will go after Iran. Because eventually Iran's going to go after Israel, right? One way or another. So, but between now and 2025, and what is his name? Netanyahu or and someone else too been threatening from Israel, threatening war with Iran. And if you really look at the prophecies, it says that's how the Great War happens over there in the Middle East, is where it starts and where it occurs. But again, time will tell. Hopefully it never happens. If a world war were to come, and again, I hope and pray that we together can shift it from occurring, uh, would it most likely, to me, it would most likely begin in 2025, not now. I don't feel like, yeah, we're on the edge of it, the doorstep of it happening. They're pushing for it, especially America. Thankfully, the opposing forces aren't pushing for it. But all we need is them to have a bad day, or really for U.S. to really piss somebody off, like Russia or somebody, like to a point of taking it too far. But other than that, I feel like if it were to occur, it wouldn't be till the year 2025. And that's another video, again, I want to do in the future is a video on 2025 predictions. But here's another question. Why did Japan make changes to its constitution recently? And why are they going from a defensive military to an offensive military? Japan always had this thing in their mind, we're defensive military. You attack us, we'll attack you, and that's it. But now they're becoming an offensive military and changing their constitution to make that happen. My friends in Japan, leave us a comment. What's going on over there? Not good, not good. Japan needs to work on life preservers so it don't sink when the earth shifts, because that's in the prophecies. Even Edgar Casey said that Japan would sink. I hope not, because I really want to go to Japan and visit. But why is that happening? Why are they changing their military strategies? Why are they changing their constitution so that they can change their military strategies? And why is the people of Japan allowing them to change their constitution? That's the other thing. Let them try to change the constitution here with us knowing about it. People will flip their lids, and they should. I'll be one of them right out there protesting along with them. So what about an invasion? Not of the body snatchers, but of UFOs. Yes, an invasion of UFOs. We talked about this in the past on past shows, and it sure seems to appear, if you look lately, that they are really pushing this agenda upon us with their recent claims in the United States of shooting down UFOs and what's the other one they use now? UVP or UAP or whatever that is. I just drew a blank again. So I want to take you back to the 1950s, my friends, and the Orson Welles Were the Worlds. Remember that? Well, you don't remember that. I mean, some people might remember that, but I think that was before all our time. But there could be some people here. We got lots of seniors here that may remember the Orson Welles scaring the heck out of Americans, making them believe that they were under attack by an alien force in UFOs. And people believed it. And we were taught in school that, it was an accident. People tuned in before he said it was a show, and I think they did that all as a plan. Americans were convinced that they were being attacked. That is just a test. Or how do we know that wasn't just a test? And now, more than 70 years later, they can perfect such a fake alien invasion. Maybe they did that test back in the I don't know if it was the 40s or 50s, I forget. I failed that test in grade school. The Orson Welles thing, maybe it was just a test. And now 70 years later, they can literally, with the technology, they master the ability to pull off such an event. Because that would be an event that would really help to get people enslaved thinking and help them to destroy the world by having people think that it's aliens doing it and not them blowing up the cities. It's their agenda. It's one of their agendas. Hopefully they don't do it. But remember, I said there would be airliners shot down, if you remember. Remember my visions of airliners being shot down and such? So what if they use that as a story claiming that aliens did it instead of another country? Just hypothetically speaking, friends, because I think that's how they'll play it off. Suddenly an airliner gets shot down with 120 people on board that all perish, and they make a claim that a UFO and use their CGI, graphics to make it appear like that's the case. Kind of like they made it appear like planes hitting the towers at 9/11 when there's proof that there were missiles involved. Clear proof of missiles involved. The actual head of the missile comes out the other side of the building. If you put it in slow motion, one frame at a time, you can clearly see it. Nothing should be coming out the other side of the building. It should be demolished. If it was a plane going through one side, it shouldn't be coming out at all the other side. Interesting, right? Anyway, we're not here to talk about that. We're here to talk about UFOs and claiming that, and I have a link here actually, let me open this up. Pentagon UFO chief says alien mothership is in our solar system is very possible. There is a possibility that extraterrestrial motherships and smaller probes may be visiting planets in our solar system. The head of the Pentagon's Unidentified Aerial Phenomena Research Office noted in a draft report on Tuesday. Yep. An artificial interstellar object could potentially be a parent craft that releases many small probes during its close passage to Earth. An operational construct not too dissimilar from NASA's missions. First of all, I think that that's just creepy for them to even come out and say that. And it just, again, shows that there's an agenda. Make it look like one UFO that brings about hundreds of UFOs. Just like that movie, Independence Day. Exactly like the movie Independence Day. There's a couple movies with alien invasions, but Independence Day was the most popular one. In other news today, Idaho becomes the 5th state to allow firing squad option of execution. Yo, that's kind of creepy. Yeah. The 5th state, Idaho. Hey ho, I'm from Idaho. Idaho becomes the 5th state to allow firing squad option as execution method. The governor, Brad Little, signed legislation into law on Friday that added firing squads as an alternative method of execution for one of the state's death row inmates. All of a sudden, why are they doing this, friends? This is my question. Why are they suddenly 5 states all suddenly, and more to come? There's more to come. That's not the only state. Trust me, more are going to come. Why are they suddenly changing and putting in that they can shoot you in a firing squad? Friends, there's more to this that we're not getting, that they're not telling us. What is their plan? That they can come upon our house and use us as a firing squad? You know, execute us through firing squads? This makes me think of the guillotines. Remember the whole guillotine thing and all the guillotines that were ordered by the United States back in the Obama administration, allegedly. I don't know if I have any proof on that right now, but allegedly. Here's another thing, and there's definitely proof on this. Myocarditis is up 131% amongst military people. Myocarditis diagnosis spiked in military, says new data. The rate spiked. Diagnosis of myocarditis, a form of heart inflammation, jumped from 130.5% in 2021 compared to the average from the years 2016 to the 2020. According to data from the Defense Medical Epidemiology Database. The data was downloaded by a whistleblower and presented to Senator Ron Johnson. Myocarditis is a serious condition that can lead to death. All 4 of the, things, all 4 of them authorized in the United States have side effects that can cause myocarditis, according to U.S. officials. They added a warning for the J&J shot just this past month that could also cause myocarditis. Yeah, sure, line me up. Give me 5 of them. It's insane to me. Insanity. Aaron Cotter, Lord bless his soul, that poor disturbed young man. Aaron Cotter's fiance is claiming that he was murdered. We talked about Aaron Cotter and that whole situation, and I told you back then that I totally agree with her 100%. Well, here's the other thing. How do we know Aaron Cotter's fiance isn't in on it? Just saying. But I agree with her. Totally taken out by somebody. We know that. That's definitely a rabbit hole I should go down sometime in the near future. Here's an interesting one. DeSantis is going to ban digital currencies in Florida. From what I read, I don't know how true this is, but he is proposing to ban digital currencies in Florida. Good for him. The rest of the world needs to follow up with it. Not good. And you remember I talked about massive strikes coming this year and major, again, awakening of people stepping into their power to fight back. Well, we see this in California now with teachers on strike in New Zealand. And this is going to spread, Spirit says, as we said in the past, but it's going to keep spreading. 3 children killed in the Nashville shooting, supposedly by a transgender individual. That is in the news. It's sad news, but I didn't really look into it. I just put it in my notes. Didn't really want to go anywhere with that. It's sad. We're going to see more of these things occurring, people losing their minds, but especially when we get into the next energy cycle, which will be in my next predictions, my April predictions. So indeed, my friends, massive quakes are definitely coming, but so is the birth of a whole new world. And we need the birth of a new world on a positive level. And by the year 2030, we will be shocked. All of us that are still standing in the year 2030, we are going to be shocked by the amount of major changes to both our lives, personally, universally, and to the geographically to our Mother Earth, according to Spirit. So the whole geography of the planet, everything is going to change. I'm not saying everything's going to change. Let me rephrase that. It's going to change to the point that we're going to look back and not believe the changes and not be able to recognize some of the things that have happened. And this is good. We need change. We need things to shift. It's just, with any change, sometimes, you got to crack through an egg to come to life, right? Like a little chick has to pack his poor little life away trying to get out of that damn egg. But when he does, he gets to fly and run free. That's us. We need to peck our way out of this damn egg that we're in, that we didn't want to be in, so we can give birth. Speaking of birds, have you heard of the crow guy in New York? The crow guy, they call him. This guy is awesome. He made literally thousands or tens of thousands of dollars. I forget what the amount is, but a massive amount of money, because he trained his crows to bring back money. He did it all by accident. I think one of the crows brought him a coin or something. Then he decided he was on to something. And they bring him all this money and he gives them food. And they bring him a lot of money. I thought that was pretty interesting, fun kind of story to leave you off with. But there's another one, because many folks believe that we are living in a matrix. What do you believe? What do you think? Do you think we're living in a matrix? Just like the movie The Matrix. And perhaps we are, especially regardless whether we are or not, we're still in control of our own lives. We're still in charge of our future. So whether we're living in a matrix and it's a game, we can still win this game. We still have lots of lives, to go. And we have the ability. So this brings me to my final thought. A glitch in the matrix. The Lemon Girl. Have you heard about the Lemon Girl? Check it out. Go Google it. Look up the Lemon Girl. The Lemon Girl is working in the store cutting lemons. You clearly see her cut the lemon. And again, there's going to be the skeptics who are going to say, oh, she made that video. No, it's legit. But believe what you want. It's up to you. But she cut that lemon, turns around, comes back, and the lemon's not cut. And she looks at it. You can tell by her face, so confused. She just cut it. You see her cut the lemon in half, turn back, and the lemon's solid. I just thought that was interesting. You ever watch any of those videos, glitches in the Matrix? I find them to be very fascinating, actually, very fascinating. What is also fascinating is hanging out with you beautiful friends each and every week. I thank you again for the chat, cash, PayPal, and all the love and support. And more than anything, just being a part of this tribe. Smashing that subscribe. Don't forget, one last time, please click that like button before you move forward, because it helps me, the channel, and the algorithms help you so that this stuff shows up on your feed. And don't forget to set your notifications. And if you don't see me pop up on a Tuesday, you know that I'm here every Tuesday, so make sure you look, because people do mysteriously become unsubscribed from this channel and other channels on YT. So until the next time, remember, April predictions will be out this weekend. Keep an eye out for that. Much more to come. I wish you all an amazing rest of your day, and thank you again for your love and support. Remember, be kind to others as you wish others be kind to you, because we all know that mean people suck. Also, celebrate life, celebrate you. Spearman JT signing off and wishing you the amazing rest of your day to be amazing. Namaste. Much love.